My name is Tamara and you're on the channel LitCat Stitches. And this is my mid-year whip parade. I haven't done a whip parade before, so there's going to be probably a lot of things in here that you might not have seen. If you're new here, you haven't seen any of it, and welcome. I am so happy that you've taken some time out of your day to join and see what I have to offer. And if you're returning, welcome back. So nice to have you here. I'm really looking forward to showing you the works that you're used to seeing and some new things as well. I had quite a few new starts. It's my birthday month, so I think I'm allowed. Been a little carefree. My plan is to show you everything I have in chronological order. So I think I have around 30 whips. I don't have an accurate count yet, so that's going to be my goal too at the end of this, is to give an accurate count so that things don't just get shuffled off into a corner somewhere. And I plan on telling you all the details I have. So if it's in a fancy bag, I'll give you the information I have. I'll tell you like floss, fabric, date of start, and you know, just what I have. But if there's anything I leave out and you have any questions, please just ask a question below and I will look into it for you. If I have the pattern on Pattern Keeper, I will provide some stats, like maybe percent complete, things like that. And yeah, I think I've got 2 big bins to go through, so there might be some editing as I sort of shuffle things around. I've got some things on lap stands and scroll frames, so there'll be some edits as I sort of work out, you know, maneuvering all of the stuff around. But thanks for joining. Grab a cup of something. Feel free to take this in chunks. You know, it's going to be a long video. We all know how whip parades are, but I hope you enjoy. So let's get started. So my first whip that I have for you is actually from 2014, and it's only the second cross stitch that I ever did, and it is Beautiful Bird from Dimensions. So that's what I have for stitching. Let's see if I can get you a picture. It's one of those smaller gold collections, so, and it's old. The bag that it's living in is just a Ziploc, so nothing fancy. And you'll see I still have my masking tape edges. Where this is going way back, right? So this is 14 count Aida. I'm just using the kit fabric and the kit floss. This does have some fancy, I don't know if it's Krennic or it's just the equivalent of, you know, the dimensions sort of, you know, gold metallic floss. There's not a lot left. It's really like the top of the bird, the outside of the frame, and a little bit down here with like sort of the Chinese characters. Japanese characters. So I do have a plan to finish it. There's nothing wrong with it. I get really excited by, let me rephrase. I didn't want to work on it anymore, and I didn't do cross stitch for several years. And then when I came back to it, I was really excited to do other things. So that is Beautiful Bird by Dimensions. And I chose this kit because it went really well with the first piece that I ever cross stitched, which I don't know if I've ever shown you. Maybe I should do a little finish parade at some point. But my first thing that I ever completed was a Buddha. So the next thing I have is Junebug and Darlin, Take Time to Heal. So this is the pattern. And it's a whole kit. So it comes with the hoop, the fabric, needles, floss, batting, felt for backing. Where am I at here? So this has all of the cross stitch done on the bottom, The only thing that's left is all of the French knots. So all of the flowers, hold it on this side. All of the flowers are actually French knots. And I've started that process. Sorry, you can't even see it. There's a little. I started the process, but it's a lot of French knots, but I do really, really like the piece. I love Junebug and Darlin. They do great kits. So, yeah, still on my goal. I know, in my whips here to finish it up. I started this one in June of 2020. So there was, there's 6 years in between. There were a couple of things in between that though. So this is just my second oldest whip. My next oldest whip I started in August of 2020, and it's Pandemic by Sarcy Girl. And I have it in one of these awful plastic bags. And just a word of warning in case you don't know, your printer paper, because this is a printed chart that I printed at home, it sticks, see? So it's this particular kind of bag, right? The ones, these ones here with the fabric, like words, with the sort of no tear nylon grid in there, they don't do this. All right, it's really, I've only ever had it with these ones, and it's this one in particular would go like in a binder. So just be careful, word of warning. So this is 2020 Pandemic Sampler from Sarcy Girl. This was a free chart that Sarcy Girl gave out. And I've worked on this year, so you've seen it before. I'll put a picture here. This is what it looked like when you saw it last time. I don't think it's changed too much. I had it as my my 25/7 piece for a while, but I haven't worked on it in a bit. So this is 40 count Heritage from Picture This Plus. This is I went from 14 count Aida to 40 count linen. So it had a bit of a slow start too. It took me a little bit to sort of get with the program, right? The floss I'm using is the called for, minus like 1 or 2 exceptions. I think one of my oranges, I didn't have the right orange, so I think I'm using 301 instead of 921. So, but I think it's close enough. You can't tell the difference. And I like the pattern a lot. I do want to finish it this year. I finished that orange house, so it'd be great to maybe just finish up this side of it, right? By the end of this year. The next thing I worked on was Pilgrim's Progress by Long Dog, which I started 21st of August 2021. So I will put a cover picture of what the finished looks like. You've probably seen it a million times. I am stitching this on, oh, here we go. Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. It's 32 count linen in seafoam, in case you need to read that. And I am using the color Deep Sea by The Gentle Art, and a Silky, which is a blendable in 40/20. So those are my floss. So because it's 32 count, it's 2 strands of floss of the Gentle Art or 1 strand of Silky. And it took me a little bit to figure out kind of what I wanted to do for my color change, because I had started out originally just doing the deep sea. And I thought it was beautiful, but I wanted the animals to pop a little bit more. So at first I did like more of a purple blendable, but I didn't like that so much. And then I moved to this sort of green, yellow, blue, which I liked a little bit more. So this is where I'm at. This is about 1 page complete, moving into the second page. It's a very large pattern. There are some people who can whip out long dogs in a year. I am not one of those people. I find, oh, I have a loose thread. I find that kind of like monogamous stitching, so working on one project, isn't for me. And working with one color is also a little bit hard. Though I've been feeling the pull to move back to this one. I'm working this actually on a paper pattern. I didn't know that Pattern Keeper existed when I started this. So the next thing I worked on was I started Cryptids by the Witchy Stitcher in September of 2021. This is what the finished pattern looks like, but I started it as part of the mystery stitch along, so I didn't know what we were going to get. And it's one of those patterns where we got the frame first, and then we would get sort of the individual boxes on the inside. And this is where I'm at. This is on 40 count Murky by Picture This Plus. And I'm doing the called for floss with a couple of exceptions. My red is different. Instead of 666, I'm using 347. And some of my browns and greens are different. So I'm using some classic color works and some gentle arts. Just as they're close, you know, nothing is really that different from what is called for. I just didn't have the called for DMC at the time. And this one, when I showed it last time, I have a counting error in the chart that I had just been working on, which is the jackalope, but also I think I miscounted the frogman as well. So I'm thinking this bottom section I need to redo, or what I'm considering is moving over here and coming down and then coming over this way so that I can adjust. So it's kind of in the naughty corner for a minute. I love it, and I do want to finish it, but I just need to get the gumption to do so. And this is in one of my first fancy bags, and I apologize, I don't have the bag creator's info. It's not on the bag anywhere, and I can't remember where I got it from, but it does have a handle, which is really nice, but it's also a little bit smaller. It's not a typical like 8x11 bag. It's more like a 7x10. But it's very cute, very well made. It's got a quilted back. Yeah, it's very sweet. The next thing I worked on, which I started September 15th of 2021, this beautiful 805 stitcher bag. And it's on 32 count Crystal Eek by Picture This Plus. My goodness. So it's Halloween Quaker by Lila's Studio. And this is where I'm at. This is using mostly called for, but also some changes. So let's see if I can, yeah, it's mostly the called for. I think my only real change is that pumpkin, which is, instead of using the classic Colorworks Sassy Brass, I'm doing a sulky 4065, which is like a variegated orange brown. And that's for this pumpkin. I didn't have the called for DMC or the classic Colorworks that was called for, which I think is Brassy Tax. No, Sassy Brass. So I pulled a sulky orange that was variegated. There's mistakes in this one too. You'll see I have a hanging thread here for my cobweb. And that's because my spiders are a miscount. This is my first Quaker pattern that I ever did. So there's a mistake in here. And so my cobweb is, he's got a little dangle, but I want to get a little spider charm and hang it from this thread so that there's like a, I don't know, try to make your mistakes look intentional, I guess, is my advice. I'm excited to work on this one again as we're getting into the autumn season. And my moon needle minder is from Mad for Minders. That was one of my first needle minders that I got, was that one. So my next one needs some help. So it's these awful bags. Oh, jeez. Okay. So my next chart is Sunflower Farm by Kathy Barrick. And I'm using, I think, just a random assortment of flosses. Another Mad for Minders needle minder. This is on Sanguine, 36 count Sanguine from Weeks Dye Works. And this was my first time, this is just a rack here. This is my first time trying to stitch in hand. And I remember distinctly, I started this September of 2021, and like we were outside a lot because it was like really hot. So I was trying to stitch in hand. It's old Weeks, so it's the really loose fabric, the really soft fabric. I had no idea what I was doing. And there's a miscount. And you can't really see it that well. I don't know. It might be a UFO. Like, I love the pattern. I think I need to do 2 strands of floss. It's a little too primitive. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a little too see-through. So I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do. It's not that much stitching, but it was a lot of time spent stitching because I was like trying to figure out my technique for, and I've got a needle just like stuck in the fabric. I mean, it's got mistakes all over it, right? Let's just be honest. But I think that, the way that this was photographed, like the fabric that they call for is beige, right? But when I looked at that, I thought it was close, but I actually think it's too orange. So I might just put it on a raw. I might do that and just take this out. This is a 13 by 17, so it's a fat quarter. So I don't know. That's in the I don't know pile. I'm pretty sure that's a UFO. Yeah, I'm gonna call it now. That's a UFO. I'm not gonna work on it. I don't know where the mistake is. I'm not enjoying stitching in hand on that project. I think I'll keep the fabric because there's not that much stitching. I could easily take it out and just put something else on it, but we're gonna UFO that one. Wah, wah. So that was whip 7. This is whip 8, which I actually had lost for a while. After I started this piece, and so I started this piece in November of 2021. We got some new furniture, and so there was like some rearranging that happened, and this got knocked off of the shelf where I kept it and fell in between two large pieces of furniture. And for the life of me, I could not find it. And it's a mess. Oh, it's a mess. Okay. So this is Plum Street Samplers Gobble Gob. I have a floss conversion here. See how true I am. Yeah, I'm close. I have a lot of the called for fancy flosses. Look, I was very, very smart. I put a floss ring in there, but have not yet done so. So you can see. I literally just found this. We got a new little fridge. And so some of that furniture had to move again to sort of scoot it over, and I found it. So these are the flosses, mostly called for. Some are the fancy flosses, some of the DMCs, just depending on what I had. It's on an 18. I have to, it's on an 18 count piece of Ada oatmeal. That's where we're at. I think I worked on this like 2 days before it got lost. So remember when I started stitching it, I was like, why are these turkeys green? Because they are. The turkey, this light turkey at the top is, what color is he? Spanish moss. Or 646. What did I do? Did I do Lexington green? Yeah. So I made him Lexington green, which is still, it's very true to the, to Spanish moss. I have Spanish moss now. But yeah, he's a green turkey, but I don't think it looks that bad. Maybe he's a little moldy. So I do want to finish this. Maybe I can finish this year. It's not very big. It's like 54 by 94 or something. They're small, right? And I remember when I saw these sort of stacked up animals from Plum Street, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do all of them. I'm gonna stitch every single one of them. I haven't. I have a couple more. I haven't stitched any more of them though. Okay, whip 9 is Christmas by Renato Perlin. So this is a favorite. I'm holding this in a, oh no. Oh, Dot Dot Goose. Dot Dot Goose bag. So this little Christmas gnomes. This is the pattern. It's a really terrible picture. We all know it. But that's okay. This is on a piece of buttermilk. Just gonna knock over my Lowry stand. This is on a piece of 40 count buttermilk by, is it Fiber on a Whim? Listen. Yeah, fiber on a whim. Huh. This is back when I was doing like a floss card. So these are the colors. This is the yellow I'm using, which is Golden Ale from Color and Cotton. Mostly called for DMC, with a couple of exceptions, just close changes. But I'm also using, instead of the white for the snow, I'm doing a Diamant, which is the, what color is it? D5200. Separates it up, yeah. Hopefully you can see that. And this is where we're at. So on the third tier of 5, it only gets bigger as it goes down. So I'm not even halfway. But I do love this, and I know a lot of you love it too. It's a great pattern. It's fantastic. It's a beautiful stitch. And I'm really excited to get that one up on the wall. Probably not this Christmas. Maybe next Christmas, if I put some real effort in. I think I might have brought it out for Christmas in July, but I don't think so. I think I worked on a couple of other Christmas patterns. You've seen this one before. This is Dinosaurs from Al Forest. So this is what it looked like last time. I started this January of 2022. So I got the kit from Al Forest, which comes with the fabric, all of the floss, which is on bobbins, not my favorite, but the floss is great, very beautiful. And this is where we're at. The fabric is a, gosh, I think it's 28 count. Nope, 32 count linen. Very beautiful. I have plans on changing this. I think I mentioned last time that there's like a large palm tree over on this side. And what I'm gonna do is I'm taking that tree out and I'm putting my son's birth information in, so it'll be his birth sampler. He's still really into dinosaurs, so hopefully by the time I'm done, he'll still be into dinosaurs, but even if not, it's a good memory that, you know, that he loved dinosaurs, and that was part of his nursery was dinosaurs, so. And the needle minder came with the kit. It's not very big. It's 193 by 165. I am maybe like a third. I haven't really touched the border yet, so. And it is not in a bag. It is literally just in the box that it came in. We're very fancy around here. The next one has barely any stitching. It might be a UFO. It is Ink Circles Quaker Floral Puzzle. And again, it's in one of these horrible bags, so the pattern is stuck. It's on 40 count anthracite by Picture This Plus. I am using all the called for DMC, which is like these beautiful pastels. I started the center motif and then worried it was too dark. So I want to put a couple of the lighter colors in. Give you a little floss toss here. I want to put a couple of the lighter colors in because I do think they pop really nicely off the anthracite. But I'm not sure. I think part of the problem is that it's one strand. so it just doesn't feel like it's got any oomph. But at the same time, you know, it is like a sort of delicate pattern. But maybe there's not enough contrast. Like maybe the fabric's not dark enough. Maybe it's like a little too mid-tone. I don't know. What do you think? If you have any opinions, let me know. This one's in the maybe pile. It's been in the maybe pile forever. I literally haven't worked on it since I started it. Because at the time I was like, I don't know. And 2 years later, I still don't know. So these are on Stitchy Hugs from Starcy Girl. So right, the next one you have seen, I actually just transferred over into a new bag. This is an Evertote bag, which is great because the pattern is Anton Uffendel from Hands Across the Sea, and it's a larger size pattern. So I wanted to keep it a little bit more protected, so I've upgraded my bag. I'm stitching this in hand-dyed fibers conversion, so hand-dyed Vicky Clayton silk. And the conversion is really, really good. I don't have one complaint about some of the mid-tone golds, but it's not big enough to really make a difference. This is where it was last time. And I am stitching this on R&R. Oh, I don't remember the color. I've said it before. I don't remember it off the top of my head, sorry. So this is where we're at. It's beautiful. These are the tones I'm talking about. There's two different mid-tone golds in here, which there isn't as much difference as I would like, but I think it still looks pretty good. Yeah, beautiful. As you can see, I don't need this whole piece of fabric, but I'm gonna leave it for now because it fits nicely in my lap frame. The next thing I worked on was Possum. Is it Possum Song? Nope, just Possum. From Mama Witch. And I am doing this in mostly the called for colors. A couple of exceptions. I'm using Legendary for the white. I'm stitching this on a 20 count black Aida, and I started this, when was it? June of 2022. So for a while there, I didn't have a lot of new starts. I was working on older things, but yeah, June of 2022. And this is what it's supposed to look like. That might help. So still quite a bit to go. The possum is taking a long time. Just because the Mama Witch cross stitch does such a good job at shading, and so just trying to get that replicated. It takes a minute. This is in an 805 stitcher bag. which comes with the needle minder. It's just a nice fall bag. Next is Modern Folk Embroidery, Move Forward in Love, which I started in July of 2022. This is what it looks like. I have a very small start on this. I'm using, let's see, Color and Cotton, Soft Apricot, 32 count. Somewhere in there, here we go. And I'm doing my own floss conversion, and I think that's what has me pausing, is that I just am not sure about my color conversion, and I've been considering ordering the Silks For You has a rainbow pack, because this is mine currently, which I think it's good. You know, I think it's all right, but I'm not convinced. And I've also got 2 silks from Vicki Clayton. So I think it's more on pause as I assess and consider. I went to pull it out this June for Pride, and I looked at it and I wasn't sure. I love the fabric. I love the pattern. I have a needle just in the fabric. It's a good way to get rust. Don't do that. Don't be me. Don't be like me. But yeah, I think it's my green. Like in here, the green is a little bit lighter, and my green is just wow, you know? So I think that's where I'm thinking I might need to reassess. So the next one is another favorite, and it's Thurza Priscilla Dawes from Hemlock and Rye. For my very bedraggled paper copy. This has 2 colorways. I'm doing the bright colors, which is like the back of the piece. Last time you saw it, it looked like this, and I have worked on it since then. It's in a dot dot goose bag, which is from some Teresa Kogut fabric, I think. That's nice. It comes with like a thread keep. I'm stitching this on, gosh, is it 28 count? 32 count Oaken. And it's in my Nerge because I was just working on it. So this side is all done from the top. I still have the bottom to do, but I wanted to come over here and bring the other edge down. And yeah, it's going great. I'm doing my own conversion. I am doing a sulky conversion. Like I said, I was just working on this, so my flosses are all over the place, but contained. If you're interested in my sulky conversion, let me know. I'm happy to share. So really excited about this one. Would love to finish it this year. Hopefully I could do that, because there's still a good amount of stitching. There's a lot of motifs in there, let's be honest, but the bottom is really not that far. So I would say I'm well over halfway to being done. And I started that, when did I start? There's a June of last year. So she just had her 1-year birthday. Okay. Gotta find it. My next one is in a Ziploc. We're high tech here, okay? Professional. This I started in July. And it is the Equality Sampler from Plum Street. It's a beautiful chart. I'm not a huge Patriotic stitcher. This is really my only Patriotic piece. But I wanted to stitch this one because I like the sentiment. I think women getting the right to vote was important, and it'd be great if we had more representation of women in our government. So this is where I'm at. I don't have the fabric for this. It is a 40 count. There is over one, and I remember not being 100% happy with myself about it, but it's okay. Yeah, I unfortunately I don't have the fabric. It's a beautiful sort of pinky beige color. This is over one here. The words are over one. And I'm doing full cross over one. Why did I do that? You know what? It might actually be 36 count. It's 36. That's why I did full cross over one. On 40, I usually do just one leg. So I am using all of the called for floss. I don't think I made any substitutions. Some of that called for is the Weeks Dye Works, and some of it is the DMC, but that's how the pattern is too. The original was stitched on R&R Vintage Homespun, which is not what this is. So apologies that I don't know what the fabric is. I might have made a note in it somewhere, but it's not in this bag. Maybe should get upgraded to a different bag, but I think I stitched this like 1 week furiously and then put it away. The next one, which is in one of these fancy bags here, is my Virlanda, which is the 1816 Virlanda sampler, which is in the Sampler and Antique Needlework Quarterly, Summer 2015. You can buy the magazine. Do I have a cover picture? Yes. So it's this big one, which I saw this, I think, on Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World, and also I think the 911 Stitcher. You can buy this at Annie's catalog. I started this July. Again, a birthday month, right? So it's my birthday month, and I'm like, I want to start all the things. I am stitching this on graham cracker fabric. It's it's a yard. It's just huge. Gosh. Graham cracker fabrics in the colorway Sugar Cookie. There's too many desserts in there. It's 40 count. I am stitching this with Extra Designs hand-dyed floss and Old Rosewood. Part of my hesitation is I'm worried about floss. It's a lot, but there is a pretty good point where I could like cut it off if I start running out of floss. You might actually want to see the stitching. I think I've only worked on this like a week, if that. I'm sorry, y'all. I did not iron. And I love this fabric because it's like a really like toasty, warm white. And there's my start. I love how the floss variegates. I am doing full crosses to get the full effect of the variegation. And I've been wanting to pull it out since Modern Folk Embroidery came out with their Virlanda sampler. The next thing I pulled out, I was doing Christmas in July, and I started stitching the Prairie Schooler Christmas Tree Farm, which is beautiful. It's book number 198. These are my flosses, which are my own conversion because I wanted to do a bright town. I'm stitching this on, 18 count Aida. There's my blazing start. So that's this row here. So I wanted to do a more colorful town with a couple different kinds of greens. I still really love this idea. I wanted to use some more of my fancy flosses, so that's what sparked this idea. The next thing I worked on was I started the Frosted Pumpkin Stitcheries Halloween Wreath, which was a mystery stitch along. This is what it looks like now. There's only one piece left, and then the last piece comes out next month. And this is what it looked like when you saw it last time, and I'm pretty sure it looks similar. I didn't work on it. I've fallen behind. I am using the kit fabric, which is a 28 count pewter from Picture This Plus, and the kit floss. The reason I have fallen a little behind on this is because I had to buy a second skein of, I think it was 413, and the dye lot was so different. I did find one that was closer, and it's like that main dark gray. And it was just, what I was using was like way lighter, and I have to frog it. It looks too close to the medium gray. So I have to frog it, and then I have to finish July. I have to finish June, actually. There's a little bit more for June, and then July, and then August goes here. So it's a great stitch, and it's really great. It's really nice to work on it in sort of these chunks that they give you. So yeah, I have every plan of finishing. This is in an 805 stitcher bag. Cats and books. The next thing I started, and that was started August of 2022. The next one I started was another mystery stitch along from Tiny Modernist, which was the Halloween Crystal Ball. It's here. All of the parts have been released now. Fox and Rabbit. Oh, I can't get the name of the fabric. Here we go. Elephant Run, 40 count. So it's on Elephant Run. So it's on a dark fabric. I did my own floss conversion. But just true to the colors. So I've got some Roxy Flossco, some Classic Color Works. I've got a Color and Cotton thread mist dye, 20 yards of that, which is plenty. And The needle minder is from Mad for Minders. And this is where I got to. So still quite a bit to do, but you know, this bottom section is mostly done. I've got fill in here. And then I've got the, oh my goodness. I step away for a few minutes and chaos ensues. So I've got this book to fill in, right? I've got to bring the borders up this way and then the globe. So it's still quite a bit of stitching, but there is a lot of stitching in those books. Looking forward to bringing this one out. The next thing I worked on is one of my absolute favorites. This is Seedy Pumpkin Cottage from Tiny Martin's. That was the last one. Praiseworthy Stitches. This is what it looks like. I started this September 26th of 2022. So we're coming up on a year. I am stitching this in the called for floss. That's a lot of specialty flosses. I am not stitching it on the called for fabric though. Get my ducks in a row here. I'm stitching this on Fiber on a Whim Silver Fox. And this is where I'm at. So I showed this to you not too long ago, I think, and I haven't worked on it since then. So still building this house. The house is huge. Let me just do a little comparison here. So long ways to go on this. It's 40 count though, so it's, you know, it's just a little slow going. And the house, it's full coverage, so it just takes a minute. But I'm excited because I am at the edge here of the porch. So, you know, I've got this to do and then a tree, and I'll be at the edge this way. And then on this side, I've gotten to this window. So I've got another window, a little bit of porch, and then that's at least the edge of the house. So it's encouraging. And we're pulling right into the spooky season here. So the urge to stitch Halloween is very strong. Then I started, oh, I missed one. This is actually started in July. I missed this for my Christmas in July series here. So this is a Dimensions kit. Again, very high-tech, fancy Ziploc bag. This is the Christmas Village ornaments, which look like this. I've only started one ornament. I started this one here. And this was a project, again, we were outside a lot in the summer, so I was stitching it outside. I don't have a lot, it's just on the kit fabric, but very enjoyable, but also a lot of color changes. Not the best project to work on while trying to keep your eye on a 5-year-old. He was 5 then, so he's 6 now. Still wouldn't be the best project for keeping an eye on him. He's a bit of a wild man. So this is Jane Atkinson, which another favorite. This is in an 805 stitcher bag. I started this for on my birthday last year, and it's Scarlet Letter, and it's an older chart that has like the photograph, but there are some Scarlet Letters that are hand drawn. This one has been converted to computer drawn. Okay, there we go. I'll stand up so I can actually talk about it. So it looks like this. The work that I put in was really just to try and bring this border over for where the, in the original it's a verse. It'll be a verse in mine too, but not from the Bible. So there's still fill-in to do here, and still a long ways to go, but these colors are amazing. I'm using the called for Avera Soie d'Alger, and it's on a 40 count platinum. Beautiful. Absolutely one of my favorites. Stitching it's like a coloring book, you know, if you do like the outline and then you can go in and fill in. But I wanted to get the border because I wanted to like see it, because I'm recharting the center section to be a John Milton sampler. I studied Paradise Lost for my PhD, and so I'm taking one of my favorite verses from Paradise Lost and I'm putting it in here. And this will be my John Milton sampler. Nothing against Jane Atkinson. She had a beautiful sampler. I'll probably put a note on the back once it's finished to indicate sort of what the original was, but that's my plan. My next piece I started in November for Black Sampler November. This is the Modern Folk Embroidery AIO 1844. I am stitching this with Roxy Floss chalkboard. And I'm stitching it on Fox and Rabbit Eureka 40 count. And I was just working on this. I wanted to bring it over, so I started doing that. For this one, I'm not doing full crosses. I'm just doing, is it the Danish method? Where it's one leg and then you come back and do the other. So this is the edge and this is the edge. So I just wanted to kind of get a sense of what the edge looked like. And it's beautiful. I'm really enjoying it. Okay. Again, this is going to take a long time, but that's okay. All right. Next up is, I started this in November as well. It was a Patreon chart from Teresa Kogut. Do I have a cover sheet? One second. I do. It's a little folded but this is Green Coat Santa. I got it as the July Patreon chart, but I started it in November of last year. I am stitching this on it is, hang on, Seraphim Fabrics. I obviously have a blazing start, and this is where I'm at. I'm doing my own floss conversion. You can see I had another start here. This is actually Modern Folk Embroidery's 2020 sampler. Another Mad for Minders. My floss colors are close to the original, but just my own conversion. The next thing I started was actually a restart. This was one of my second to oldest whips, which is the Cooler Classic Design Studios Winter Cat Sampler. It looks like this. So I restarted this in March of this year, and I'm holding this in an 805 stitcher bag. I am stitching this on 28 count Lugana Antique White with the called for DMC, but I am doing an over dyed for the pinks. And I think I've done a little bit of work, but not much on this since the last time you saw it. So this is what it looks like. There's a lot of back stitching in this. I had sectioned it out to work on it every month. I've fallen behind. It was like May, June, this is July, August. So you can see July isn't finished yet. July goes down to like here, right through the middle. It's fine. It's still nice to have the sections, even if it's not like the months that I attributed to them. It's a great, great pattern. You know, more of that sort of classic style, but I love it, and I'm looking forward to having all 4 seasons at some point. And on that note, I started in another 805 stitcher bag, the Cooler Classic Charts Spring Cat. And I started this in April of 2023. Also on 28 count Lugana Antique White with the called for DMC. And this looks exactly the same because I haven't picked it up. But that's what this one looks like. Again, very beautiful. I started the bottom for this one. So this is the bunny, this is the nest. So this is the width, and then it'll go up. It's a little dusty. So that's that one. Okay. And then I decided I didn't have enough full coverage projects, and I started, oh, I forgot to give you my pattern keeper stats. So those two, the spring cat and winter cat, I have in pattern keeper, and I can give you some stats. So winter cat is currently at 30%. I have 5,000 stitches done, 5,040 stitches out of 16,345. But pattern keeper doesn't track back stitching, so there's still, I'm not 30% done. For spring cat, it's a little smaller. It's 13,985 stitches. I currently have 1,920 done, which is about 13.7%. Okay, so I then started a new full coverage, which is an allegory of spring, which will look like this when it's finished. This is by Contemporary Cross Stitch. This is a huge pattern. It's 464,000 stitches, and I currently have 500 done. I started this because I had UFO'd my, what is it called? A Stitch in Time bookshelf from Amy Stewart from Heaven and Earth Design. And I was real sad about it. So I wanted to try another method. So this is on 25 count Easy Grid. Oh my goodness. I shouldn't even show you. It doesn't even matter. I do park, but I'm doing this one one strand half cross. So my stitch in time was one strand full cross on 25 count, and it was so crowded. It was getting like very unpleasant to put to work on it. So I started this and just as a way to see if I liked it, and I do. I think the coverage is okay. I need to put more stitches in it to really make sure. I found 2 more whips. Okay, we're a little out of order here, but I don't think you'll mind. So my full coverage bug decided, well, wait a second, let's try one of these kits I have, which is from Pegasus Originals. It is Hansel's Cottage. It looks like that. And it's kit with DMC, and I have worked on this since last time I showed it to you. So last time I showed it to you, it looks like this. So I had one page finish. And now it looks like this. Beautiful, beautiful chart. The colors and shading, like the adaptation of this painting is, it's gorgeous. It's really, really well done. So this is the house over here. This is the tree. This is the edge. So this is the first page I had completed, and this is the page I'm working on now. Gorgeous. It's a 9-page chart. So I'm 2/9. That's okay. Then I was like, well, if I could do that kit, I could do another kit. I have a lot of dimensions kits, and I decided, well, let's start another one. So I started this Gold Collection Spring Fairy using the called for fabric, which is an 18 count blue Aida, and the called for DNC. And this is where I've gotten to. I'm struggling with this one with the dimensional part, which is using 3 strands half cross for the background. But I've been thinking about it again recently and thinking, I got some larger needles. So I have a size 22 needle that I'm gonna try for the larger stitch counts. Sorry, the larger thread count. Yeah, I'm excited about this one too. It's just also, you know, it's dimensions kits are hard. It's not my preferred method. So one thing I did do is I took the floss off of the cards, because I hate working off these cards, and went ahead and put them on a floss ring, because this is how I like to work my floss. I then have there's a curse word, but I have another little bag which has like my extra floss, like in the floss knots. So that's how I like to work it. And then I'll show you the smallest little section here. I highlight my dimensions charts. Because it's a color chart, it's not easy to make a copy, and highlighting allows me to still see where the back stitches are. Because the first dimensions kit I did, I marked it off with a pen, and finding the back stitch was not a lot of fun. I did it, but I didn't like it. And I was like, why is cross stitch so hard? I made it hard. I made it hard for myself. So highlighting is what makes it easy for me. So there were 2 Christmas, which are the ones that I had just worked on. There are 2 Christmas charts that I had worked on in July that were underneath where I normally keep my whips. So this is an Evertote bag. And this is my Christmas at Hopper and Hollow. I am using the Vicki Clayton silk conversion for this, but I've taken it off the spools and have put it on floss drops just to try it out. I'm still using it on spools for my Anton Uffendell, but I wanted to see if it was easier or not on floss drops. This is what it looked like when you saw it last time. So I had one square complete, and it's real wrinkly. I'm stitching this on a 40 count fox and rabbit linen in Duxbury. You know, they say these boards make it easier, but I'm telling you. So, and this is where I'm at now. So I've started the next block over with the sleigh. So I put some good progress on that. I think I only worked on this for a couple of days, but that's okay. It's not really the Christmas season. And so I was doing a little, you know, just Christmas in July stitching. Feel good that I got the block at least, you know, set, though it's not all the way filled in. Some of it's just half crosses. I got that base layer of snow. The sled is almost done, and I've started working on the ice for the pond. I started this last Christmas. This is in a dot dot goose bag. It's got Christmas boots. And it is the Sampler Christmas by Happy Mood Point. So this is one of those designers that you can find on Etsy where the charts are really inexpensive, but I did a reverse image search for this image and I couldn't find any other charts. So I do think it's an original design, and there are other designs also. I don't see anything like there's definitely, like, this is definitely in the style of certain designers, but not a direct copy. If you know otherwise, please let me know. I did do my due diligence though, I think, in looking for this. So this is a monochromatic design, but I'm not doing it in a monochromatic. I'm doing it in my own floss conversion, which is just a combination of some Leo and some Roxy Floss Co., a Gentle Art, and a couple of, wait, what is this one? This is, oh, this is a Color and Cotton, and then some DMC for the greens. Let's hold them all together. So that's my floss. And then I'm stitching it on, it's a good question. What am I stitching it on? Barb's Blend 40 count R&R. And I've worked on this a little bit since I was doing my Flossmas videos, but not a lot. So this is where we're at now. I'm having a lot of fun, like, picking the colors and thinking about how I want it to lay. I worked on that a little bit this year, this July, so really enjoying that. I think it's going to be really pretty when it's done. So the next thing I worked on, you've definitely seen before, and I've been working on it quite a bit, and it's still in, I'm not going to be able to show you the whole thing because I am still currently working on it, and it is the Greenhouse of Oddities, which looks like this. It's a mystery sampler, so this is what it looks like currently from Lola Crow Cross Stitch. Currently there are 12,488 stitches in, and I have 5,318 done, so I'm at 42%. And maybe I can do this. I'll take these guys off. You can kind of see it. So you can see I didn't do the whole greenhouse border, but I've been working on, like, the flowers. I had a late start to this. So I started this when did I start it? June 4th. It's with the called for DMC on a 28 count hand dyed by Rolanda in an unnamed colorway, but I think it was a one of a kind colorway because it's an ice dye. You can kind of tell that. My needle minder is from Fangirl Fibers. Thought it was appropriate. The next one that I did was in May of this year, so I'm backing up a little bit. This is Little House Needleworks, Home of a Needleworker 2. I'm stitching this on 40 count vintage country mocha with my own floss conversion. Though some of them are true. It's mostly Roxy Floss Co., but I did keep the Brandy pairs. I didn't have a good equivalent to this in Roxy Floss. And it's in a hoop because I was just working on it last night. And this is where I'm at. This is one strand over 2 fabric threads. And the house is almost built. Still needs a roof. It's a beautiful stitch. I think everyone has stitched this except me, but I want it on my wall, so there we go. This is in a Evertote bag, and I like it because it fits my 9-inch hoop very well. This is another mystery stitch along that I was super stoked about from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. This is what it looks like now. I don't have the printed out top sheet for the second release. I bought the kit, which comes with Valor 32 count Picture This Plus. And I am behind. I had a lot of problems counting for this one. So there was some frogging that happened. And then when I went back to do it, it looked like I didn't need to do it. And then, yeah. I started this on June 3rd. It's beautiful. I do think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to stitch it, but there are just other priorities. Okay. The next one that I started is Stitch for Sage, which is Night Spirit Studio. It was a, go support the designer. Sage has been having for quite a while now, a fight with cancer and was in the hospital, so there was a nice Flosstube movement. So I bought Witches and Demons woodcut. I am stitching this on a piece of 28 count Bestitch Me Muddy Puddle, is what it's called. And I don't have a lot. I started this in a work meeting or a training where I didn't have to be on camera and I was like watching a video, so not very far. I just did a center start, but the point was to purchase the pattern and think about Sage and share it on social media, so that's that one. Okay, we're almost at the end. We're almost there. Let's see. I think the rest of these you haven't seen. So, my next start was Garden of Erie by Plum Street Samplers. And again, it's an old chart with the photograph. I'm stitching this in the called for DMC. And I only started this month. I started it on the 15th. It's on 30 count Old Salem from Primitive Hair. And that's what it looks like. So I've got the tree trunk and the bit of the ground in, so not a lot. Okay. And then I decided, well, summer's not over. Let me go ahead and start a summer sampler. So I started the Prairie Schooler, one of the summer samplers. I started this on the 16th on 28 count mushroom. Get with the program. This is a reprint of the Prairie Schooler, so I'm doing the center with the big sun. I'm using the called for DMC, and that's what it looks like. And I think it looks beautiful. I'm really excited. And I do, I'm gonna stitch all 3 of them. So, but first this one. So I've only got 3 colors in, already love it. I'm not a huge summer sampler stitcher, like a summer, I don't have a lot of summer things going on, mostly because I'm not a big fan of the summer. Even though it's my birthday month, it's bleh. This is the Antique Alphabet Band Sampler by Vivsters. I bought this on the Silk app. I have made my own conversion to Roxy Flosco color and cotton. I'm stitching it on 46 count color and cotton aged paper, which I got in a D-stash. Oh my goodness, it's heavy. And you're not gonna be able to see what I've done because I've just started it, and I've started at the bottom, and it's on my Hearthside Craftworks lap stand frame. But I've got the white stitches down here at the bottom. So not a lot, but it's a start. And I've just started this one 2 days ago, but it's a start. 1/2 is what I'm doing. And this is the color version of what it'll look like. So you can see that there's these bright colors. So let me count how many that is, and I will tell you the final number. The grand total is 37 whips and 1 UFO. So under 40, which is good. What's coincidental is that I turn 38 tomorrow. You know, I mean, when your whips match your age, that's probably good, right? It's like, that's a nice serendipitous number. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that you took breaks, and if you've gotten all the way to the end, thank you. Thank you so much. Looking forward to hearing what you have to say. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them below. Happy to talk. And, you know, as always, just take it 1X at a time. See you next time.